My guest today needs no introduction. He has enjoyed an illustrious career as a public servant in the energy, petroleum, transport, water, and irrigation sectors. His name is Dr. Engineer Joseph Kibere Njoroge, a retired public servant who enjoyed a stellar career. Dr. Kibere Njoroge was born on the 15th of June 1958 in adverse circumstances in Kiganjo location in Gatolo South constituency to the late Ruth Njeri Njoroge and the late Laban Njeri Gadimbu. Welcome, Dr. Engineer. Take us through a little bit about your humble beginnings, and you can explain to the Kenyans how you rose from adverse circumstances to enjoy such a remarkable and stellar career as a public servant in Kenya.
Thank you, Faith. Yes, indeed. I was born in 1958 in a village called Kibere, and this village, which also coincides with my name, is in Gatodo South constituency and also in a Kiganjo location. Just like it used to be in those days, when I was born, I started grazing cows and goats in the field in my early years. And I was born with siblings. And one of the siblings, my eldest sister, Rusi, took me through a lot of schoolwork while at home. And therefore, I was able to jump standard 1 and started my school from standard 2 in 1965, did my KCPE in 1970 in Dodo Primary School, passed well, and was admitted in Mo High School, which was also a day school and not very far from Dodo. And after going through my secondary education, I did my Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education in 1974 and passed well with the first division. I think I was the best student in the school, and I was admitted together with an elder brother of mine to Alliance High School. And we pursued Form 5 and Form 6 in Alliance High School. I did well. In actual fact, we both did very well. I was admitted in Nairobi University to do a degree in electrical and electronic engineering, while my brother was admitted to do a degree in civil engineering. Once we pursued our engineering degrees, we earned good scholarships because we had passed very well. And I got a scholarship to do my engineering degree sponsored by Kenya Power and Lighting, while my brother was sponsored by Nairobi City Council. We did well, and we went into employment in 1980 after graduating. And of course,
and you graduated with the first class honors.
I also graduated
in
the first class honors in a degree of electrical and electronic engineering. Quite a rare feat. Same with my elder brother, who also graduated with the first class honors in civil engineering, who is currently a professor in Nairobi University. So God has been very gracious to us. And once I joined the Kenya Power and Lighting, I was able to rise through the lands due to hard work, commitment, which actually goes beyond commitment, passion. And after working in the ministry in the Kenya Power and Lighting, I was again appointed in 2013 as a principal secretary in the Ministry of Energy and pursued that public service in energy for about 9 years. After when I was transferred to transport, again as a principal secretary, and finally I doubled up transport, water, and Irrigation in the last year of my career in the public service, leading to my retirement on 6th of December, the year 2022. And now I'm a very happily retired public servant.
So, Dr. Engineer, a significant moment in your career is when you were appointed the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Kenya Power. This was significant, and it is a position you served in from 2007 to 2013. As a CEO of Kenya Power, you embarked on very many significant projects, but there are two particular projects I'd like you to explain more to Kenyans about, and one is the rural electrification of schools, and then the second one is the organizational change that you set out to achieve and attain in Kenya Power. Explain to Kenyans a little bit more about that.
Thank you. With the background of having worked in Kenya Power in the engineering department, and the work that I mainly did was in the construction, design, and operations and maintenance of electricity supply lines, I was privileged to have risen to the level of Chief Executive Officer. And backed with that background, I was able to drive the company to unprecedented growth. I do remember that in the year 2006, I worked first together with a management contractor who had been hired by both the government and the World Bank to transform KPOC from loss-making, which was happening before. And I am proud to say that when I took over with very low profitability. I think in that year, the profitability was about 2 billion Kenya shillings. But by the time I was leaving, I was able to have increased that profitability to about 8.5 billion Kenya shillings. Quite a significant growth within a period of 6 years. More significantly, there was the rural electrification, which spurred growth in electricity distribution all over the country, and also included additional customers for Kenya Power. I do remember vividly that when I joined in 2007, we just had very few customers, just about 800,000 customers. But by the time I left, we had increased that very significantly to 2.3 million customers. And that growth was facilitated by a very enabling government, NASA, which came on board in 2002, and where we changed a lot of policies in electrification. Then after that, in 2013, the Jubilee government came on board, and again we had a very unprecedented growth of customers from 2.3 million to about 8 million by the time I left Kenya Power Lighting. That is very unprecedented. I think when we did a scan around the whole world, it was very difficult to get any other country which would have experienced such radical growth in terms of electrification. Indeed, we got very many visitors coming to Kenya Power to look at what is it that we did so that we can be able to increase our connectivity. And basically almost get to a point where we would say each and every Kenyan would be connected with electricity. When I left, I do remember vividly that we had reached about 75%. And this, for an African country, is quite an achievement. On the organizational growth, as the company grew, it became very necessary that we had to do what we normally call broad change. We needed to do a cultural change of the employees because we had to employ more people. We had to set up offices all over the country because Kenya Power basically was a retailer, buys electricity in bulk and sells to individual customers. That is really the business of Kenya Power. And to do that business, there is a lot of engineering work that have to be done behind the scenes. There is a lot of financial work to be done. There is a lot of management work to be done. A lot of human capital required to do all those things. And in order to align the human capital with the challenges of such a sporadic growth of the organization, we had to do an organizational culture change program, which we actually undertook in 2010. In that organizational change, one of the main achievements is that we were able to see the need to devolve our functions. Indeed, when we talk about the devolution of our country, we managed to think before the politicians about devolution when we were in Kenya Power, because our devolution of services in Kenya Power happened earlier than the devolution of the political structure in the country. And we created in all counties, we had offices, we set up offices. Below the counties, we also set up additional offices, especially in areas which were highly populated. And as we speak today, Kenya Power and Lighting is fairly devolved. The services are spread all over, and it is very possible for customers to access the services of Kenya Power all the times. So I do pride myself with the very significant growth in the organization, both as a managing director of Kenya Power and Lighting, and luckily because when I left Kenya Power and Lighting, I joined the Ministry of Energy as a principal secretary. So I had the very distinct privilege of being able to do what we normally call management at operational level, and then again management at the policy level. And this has enabled me to be able to appreciate and understand the integration of both operational and policy issues.
Excellent. Yeah.